Whew, this week is going to be crazy. As hopefully you've already watched the video about the 2 week long discussion format, and it's lengthy. I know it is. This one will be way shorter. The irony, right? So you've got your first 2 week long discussion, and it's a doozy. So I wanted to take a moment in order to cover this with you because I know it's a lot. Um, I'm over here going, hey, and getting to it now. So I went to the wrong spot. Here we go, week 8. I am going to share and show you so I can discuss this with you while I have it up. All right, so what I did here is I'm pointing out that it's a big discussion. This whole first part, this isn't going to be on all the discussions. It's only on this first one because I do not want anyone later telling me you did not know. So just by submitting anything for discussion for week 8, you will have to have actually agreed that you understand the difference. That was covered in the video. All right, what we're talking about, conflicts and war. We're a global politics class. Conflicts and war happen all the time. In week 1, people had mentioned wanting to know more about Palestine and Israel or discuss Ukraine and Russia. So that's what we're doing, except I also added in a little bit more. We're going to be talking about the conflicts and war between states, countries, and even inside one country. And when I say states, I don't just mean Georgia versus Florida. This one has to do with Palestine and Israel, because that's been one of the big things is Israel will not recognize Palestine as a state. And so that means they can do more of something that if Palestine was recognized as a state, they wouldn't be able to. So that is what's covered here under lesson for week 8, a must read, is you have to actually look at some definitions. So I provided links for you, and I'll show you that in just a second too. Then I provided you articles. I'm going to click on both of these in just a moment to show you just how much is there. Now, after you read the lesson for week 8 and you have taken a look at the articles, this is when you start using your brain. You're going to start thinking. For the discussion, these 4 points have to be covered. So you have to begin with explaining what is a state. You have to explain what genocide is. You have to explain about war crimes, and you have to explain about human rights. The reason for this is because all of those come into play when you're talking about conflicts and war. War crimes are based on taking away human rights. So you can't really talk about war crimes if you don't know what human rights are. Genocide is a type of a war crime, but it's more than that. And a lot of people get about what's going on right now with Palestine and Israel about whether or not it is genocide. So you have to define this, and then you have to state whether or not what's happening is that. So that's what this is right here, where you address the above conflicts, topics, and these points I mentioned. That means after looking at what is a state, about genocide, war crimes, and human rights, once you have looked at those 4 and identified them, you're looking at Russia and Ukraine, Palestine and Israel, and the United States, and putting it all together. Is this going to be difficult? Yes. Are you going to get angry? Probably. Do I expect everybody to agree? No. Am I pro-Palestine, pro-Israel, anti-Palestine, anti-Israel? No. I feel the need to put this one out there. My daughter is Jewish. I might have mentioned it in a previous thing, but since we're talking literally about Palestine and Israel, I'm putting it out there. My daughter is Jewish. I am not doing anything against the Jewish people. I am looking at government, not religion, government. I will tell you, last year, my daughter and I had full-on arguments about this because I stated that what was happening in Palestine falls under the category of genocide. And she got very angry at me, and we had a whole discussion about it. She now actually agrees with me. And she is now pointing out that the person running Israel is not exactly backed by a lot of the Jewish groups. The only reason I'm saying this is because in the US, what seems to keep happening is somebody says Israel is doing something wrong, and then people immediately say you're being anti Semitic or you're pro Palestine. I'm pro let people live. Don't kill a bunch of people. Don't take food away from people. Don't make them starve. Don't remove first aid from people. That kind of thing. Can't remember which week we covered something about it where I made a reference to um it just ran away from my brain. That's what it was, about how the conflict with Israel and Palestine started with free the hostages. And my daughter actually still wears this necklace about the hostages. She still wears it to this day. You can support wanting to free the hostages and still say what is happening is wrong. I don't think I included it. There is an article somewhere, feel free to look it up, that while Israel is demanding release these hostages, you can look up how many hostages Israel has collected from other countries. That's a hypocrisy of a different kind. And again, am I anti-Israel? No. Do I agree with what they're doing? Also no. You have to look at these. When you look at the Russia-Ukraine thing, take a look there. Do we see genocide, war crimes, anything conflicting with human rights happening there? Take a look. I know my answer. I'm curious as to yours. And then we're going to take all these and bring it for the United States. The only one for United States we don't need to worry about is what makes a state, because we know the United States is recognized as a state. Russia recognized as a state. Ukraine recognized as a state. Israel recognized as a state. So the what makes a state, the only one that actually goes with is Palestine, just so you know. But for the US, we need to look at the rest. We really do. One of or two of the links that I have included has to do with the big meeting that just took place on, I think it was Monday. Picking up my phone to look at the date. I think it was Monday. It might have been Tuesday because I'm thinking September 30th, which would have been Tuesday. But for some reason, I'm thinking Monday. But anyway, it was earlier in the week where Trump and his admin did that forced giant meeting for everybody a certain level up in the military. And it was lengthy and a lot of things were said. So I've included a couple of links there, and I specifically said pay attention to the verbiage, which means pay attention to the exact wording. And that I need feedback on. I'm not telling you what to think. I need feedback from you. I used in the video about the rubric, I'm pretty sure I used an example of the US and Venezuela. Hopefully you watched the video. If not, go back and watch it, if for nothing else, for that. So you need to, for this discussion, define those four things, but do not say a state is defined as. This has to be you. Like, I need to know you understand what it is. And for the love of everything, do not ever use the phrase blah, blah, blah to me means no. A definition is a fact. It's not an opinion. Now you can say, I feel like blah, 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 but that's not a definition. So when you define something, it is not an opinion. It has to be a fact, and you need to Show me where you got it from. So those 4 points, and address the 3 things above: the Russia, Ukraine, Palestine, and Israel, and the US issues that I've covered. Now, let me show you these parts that I'm talking about. In week 8 and in that discussion, I posted it. So, lesson for week 8, a must read. Here's where I'm just trying to tell you what I'm doing. Pretty much what I've already told you. And then these are links to give you quick, easy answers. So I'm not even leaving you trying to find where to get these answers. I have legit given you the answer to each of these. Does that mean copy and paste it? No, it means go there, read the page, think about it, put things down in your own words. This one, is the right to food a human right? That's a big one. That's huge. I really want everybody to use this and explain it and define it. Well, not define it, but explain it. Tell me if you agree with what the US voted. Tell me if you're surprised by how various countries voted versus how other countries voted. And tell me if you are surprised when you see which countries agreed with each other. It's a big one. Now, after you do the lesson, you go back here, and I have articles for discussion. I literally tried to help you. Here's a ton. Not even kidding. It's a lot. So here I pointed out that if you're going to do the Colombia and Trump interchange, because it was the president of Colombia and Trump have this exchange. And I have provided 4 different articles on it. I had a space and the space seems to disappear. But these first 4 are with that. And the reason, if you look, they're from different sources, because one source really pushes it one direction. And then when you look at more sources, you get a fuller picture. I want you to be aware of this. I want you to stop being lazy when you look at articles and just skim and just read like the headline. Read the articles. It's huge. So for the first 4 articles, they do not technically go with the topic for the discussion, but some of what's mentioned in there goes very well with the discussion, and that's why they're included. This right here, updates, that is where I said to look at the verbiage. This should give you everything. I'm actually about to check to make sure. What? It doesn't want to open. Oh, because Firefox doesn't want to do it. Okay, so hold on. I'm going to show you. Let's see. We're going to go. Well, there we go. So this is what that one is. Updates. Notice it says, boop, has now been closed. It's because this was live while the event was happening. And so here you can read it. I posted the link so you can even hit the hyperlinks here. So yeah, it was the 30th. So if you go through here, you can read what's being said. You can see what everybody was going for, blah, blah, blah. So scroll through here, look for the military leader ones, and see what's being said. This is extremely helpful. Okay. Then I tried to break it up. All of these links have to do with Palestine and Israel. And I think they're all brand new. But when I was putting other links in, and those might be down here, I came across ones where the headline, the name where it was saved, made it obvious to me that it would go with here. So put them in here. Here's another one with the Colombia president. And this is why it's still included in here, because this has to do with the stuff with the Venezuelan stuff. But Some of these, like this one is an older one, as in like, I think a week old, a little over a week old. And then some are brand new. This one, there's in here twice. I am not 100% sure if I accidentally uploaded the same article twice or if two of them have the same name. So I included them both. So if it's a duplicate, my apologies. This one right here, the Gaza aid flotilla intercepted by Israel. This is part of the reason why I have you defining certain things. So there are reasons for every one of these. Are there more articles out there? Yes. But I put all these here in the attempt to help you sort of streamline because I know it's overwhelming. If you have a news source that you prefer, go there and then use mine for the multiple source backup kind of thing to make sure you're getting a full picture. Yes, most of my news articles, and we've covered this before, come from the New York Times and the Washington Post, but that's because I have paid subscriptions there. A lot of them come from other sources like Boing Boing and stuff like that. Those are articles that I found on other things, or my boyfriend knows that I do this and he knows that I use a lot of news articles. And so when he comes across something, he sends it to me. If it is a workable hyperlink, I tried to give you the hyperlink. Some of them also went into the PDFs, but some were hyperlinks. There are a couple of news sites that are free to look at with the hyperlink, but when I try to do the PDF thing so it holds on to it, it does this crazy format. And so I don't bother putting any of those in the PDF article area. Those are just hyperlinks. So hopefully, I know I've rattled on and on and on, but whew, it's been a week. I feel like I say that every week, but the news is just my brain's going to explode soon. Take your time, take a look. I am going to make sure that hopefully you can see what the discussion is, even if you can't post yet. So then you can start looking at things. You won't have access to my specific hyperlinks until Sunday. But my hope is you will have the other things. Let's see. I think that is pretty much it. And yeah, let me know if you have any questions. Peace out.